Earth is getting hotter, sea levels are rising, and our environment becomes more and more polluted with each passing day. Despite all of this, governments continue to avoid any kind of meaningful climate action, leaving it to young people to step up. The Urban Garden Initiative is an organisation out of America that has stepped up in a major way. Entirely youth-led, the initiative runs programs in urban areas and cities promoting sustainability and empowering young people through gardening. I'm your host Louis Carlish, and this is episode 10 of the Voice of Youth podcast, and this is our chat with Zofi Sanders of the Urban Garden Initiative. We hope you enjoy. Welcome back, Zofi. Thank you so much for coming on. How are you?
Good. Thank you so much for having me.
No worries. So you're here from the Urban Garden Initiative. Why don't you give us a little background and what exactly the charity or organisation is?
Yeah. So to provide a little background on myself before we start, my name is Zofi. I'm the Associate Director of Partnerships at the Urban Garden Initiative. I'm a rising sophomore in high school from Bellingham, Washington, which is about an hour and a half north of Seattle. And TUGI was originally founded in Delaware State in order to tackle food inequality among children, in order to help them understand more directly where their food is coming from. And since then, TUGI has expanded to over 60 chapters, which recently went up in January of this past year, all across the globe in almost every single continent, where our members have built and maintained gardens in their communities. Aside from that, TUGI has also maintained and developed various social media events, helping reach a broader audience regardless of location.
So what exactly is the mission or the vision completely of the organisation?
Yeah. So as I kind of previously mentioned, we really originally started connecting children and helping them tangibly understand where their food is coming from, rather than just their basic understanding that it comes off the supermarket shelf and that's it. And then since then, we've worked more with high school students, but really generally with people of all ages, helping them build gardens in their communities and solve food insecurity through that.
Amazing. And primarily it is run by really young people like yourself, obviously being 15. It's absolutely amazing. How much of the organisation is run by the youth?
Yeah, I would say it's 75% run by youth. We have a senior board of directors, but other than that, it is basically all youth. And it was founded by our founder, Megan Chen, 3 years ago. She's now a rising freshman at Stanford. And so super young, all youth led.
And obviously, like you said, you mentioned the missions and what the vision is. What do you think that the motivation to begin something like that? Because it is very unique, and something that, in terms of, I guess, the youth nowadays, it's not quite heard of.
Yeah. So in America specifically, there's a lot of discrepancies in the food industry. And we could talk about that for so long, about the sugars and the unhealthy foods that are packaged in, and we would never even know it. And so really bringing students this experiential learning piece and helping them have access to fresh food regardless of cost is really why TUGI was founded and what we hope to ensure for our future.
And for you yourself, were you a part of it when it launched, or did you get into it recently? What was your story specifically?
Yeah, so I've been doing environmental action work for as long as I can remember. I was matched with TUGI about a year ago, and since then I've been really working in partnerships, helping us gain a larger social media audience and reach people through social media and online events.
I guess overall, and yourself included, what would you say some of the biggest accomplishments or achievements that you guys have had so far?
Yeah, so far, of course, developing 60 plus chapters has been incredible, and working with people across the globe. And then also just all the media appearances and events we've got to participate in, as well as gardening campaigns with other organizations. I mean, the list goes on with the partnership opportunities we've had, and it's just been really incredible, the work that we've been able to accomplish.
And obviously for yourself as well, to be so young and to have achieved as an organization all that. I mean, 3 years is very impressive. Now we spoke about how 60 chapters and worldwide as well. How does a chapter get started? What is a chapter, I guess, primarily?
Yeah, so chapters are often established when individuals too often see a targeted need in their community, both for environmental action and environmental volunteer experience personally, because that's a big need, especially in the States. And as well as like community betterment is super important, and the connection for a larger network of motivated, like-minded individuals across the globe. Every year we have a chapter application window where said individuals can fill out a quick application explaining the need in their community, why they want to start a garden. And regularly we give the go ahead and say, yes, of course, create this garden. And then we provide those resources that might not necessarily be available otherwise.
Seems like quite an independent process in terms of the individual itself starting. But for example, if we were to make one over in Perth, for example, would there be like quite a lot of support from TUGI? How would that work?
Yeah, so we have a whole global chapters team that works directly with our chapters across the globe. We have a required monthly meeting with people in your area of the world, but of course there's opportunities to connect with people globally. And then that group, we always connect the chapters with a real person who has the experience in the garden, and they're always there to answer any questions. We email regularly and we maintain contact.
And obviously we are in 2021, so you can do things like network all the way to America, obviously online, and like you said, your social media presence itself. So it's quite easy, I guess, to begin a chapter and gain that support of TUGI. With the chapters, once they start, how do you think that you implement your philosophy?
Yeah, I mean, of course, like I mentioned, just meeting with real people on our team and ensuring that they are working. And then every month since the beginning of this year, this was our big thing we launched, is we have a monthly chapter project. And it's kind of like a competition, and we feature the chapter that we believe did the best. But of course, it's not a competition in reality.
No.
It's bettering your community. And so it's been just great holding people accountable and seeing them
almost like a healthy
projects.
Competition where
correct, yeah,
even if you're winning, the whole organization's winning in the same way.
Yes.
Do you yourself take part in a chapter as well and engage in the garden activities?
I do not. I have my own personal garden, but I do not live close enough to a chapter, so we're working on starting one.
No, fair enough. Or hopefully we'll see one in DC Washington very soon. And just quickly going back to once you've started a chapter, does it take a lot of people to begin, or can it simply be a couple of individuals who want to get going?
Yeah, so oftentimes it's just a small group of people that really want that volunteer piece within their communities. And then, of course, as you see a garden being built in your school community or in your retirement home or in your community center, of course, other people are always like, how can I get involved with this? This looks so fun, because it's a really rewarding experience watching these seeds be planted and grow into actual food. And then, of course, that social element to it. So yes, it oftentimes does start small, but then it blossoms into a larger group of individuals.
Of course. And I guess it's, like we said before, it's a great way to meet new people, a great way to, I guess, be part of something that's bigger than yourself, and you're doing a really good cause. Now, we are going to go into the online presence specifically with the Urban Garden Initiative. What we found, which was so impressive, was that your social media, not really marketing, but your presence itself, because obviously it's a non-profit organisation, we found it really, really unique. We found that the layout really good. How much thought and what does, I guess, your online presence look like?
Yeah, so we have a YouTube channel where we regularly post videos. I believe we're up to weekly now, and about how even if you're not near a garden like myself that's already pre-existing with TUGI in your community, you can watch these videos and learn about how to further develop one on your own. And then, of course, we have our Instagram page where we post different environmental content, reaching people that don't necessarily have the desire to start a garden, but still want to be informed and understand what's going on in the world with our environment. And then we also have our blog where we have, which is a great volunteer opportunity that I'll talk about later, where you can just come in and write about something that you're passionate or knowledgeable about. You don't even have to be knowledgeable, but well-researched about it. And you can further educate others.
Obviously, we see the importance of compost and compost and recycling for you guys, and these videos do obtain stuff to help, I guess, someone who doesn't have knowledge in those areas. Why don't you talk about, for the people that aren't exactly educated in those areas, what is the importance of compost and recycling within the community?
Yeah. So, of course, here in the States, it's very common to just throw away your trash. And in a lot of areas, there's no education on what to do with it and recycle it in a sustainable way, in a way that will also, if you have a community garden, better your community garden, because we know that growing food out of compost is like going to increase both the nutrition and the lushness of the vegetables and fruits you're able to produce. And so within our YouTube channel, we've been really working to make that more accessible, which is one of the goals of TUGI, is to make sure that environmental content and education is accessible to people regardless of location. And that's what we've done with our social media presence, and especially through YouTube. Like, you can watch a 5-minute video and gain a deeper understanding that you wouldn't have had before on how to real quickly, through easy steps, build your own compost or recycle in a meaningful way.
Amazing. And obviously, for those that haven't, or that are watching and listening, do take a look at those videos, because as Zofi puts it, it is really important, and you can make such a huge impact on the environment and your own food, just by engaging in those areas. For these videos that do get put out, do you think that a lot of knowledge and a lot of, know-how for these chapters, do you think these videos that you guys put out are able to help build these chapters and gardens?
Totally. And as I mentioned before, when you start a chapter, you're automatically connected to this larger network of people. But say you don't feel comfortable, or you want a more a response that you can go back and watch as you complete the process of creating a compost pile or recycling your plastic through a creative art project, and you don't necessarily want to have this conversation with someone multiple times, the videos are a good resource for our chapters to go back and watch, as well as people that aren't in our chapters and are interested.
Amazing. Well. And like we said before, it's a youth organization, and what we really love especially about it is empowered by the youth, and it is, I guess, it's for everyone, but it's empowered by young people. It seems like within that, there's two ways that it's done. You've got obviously the ground through the chapters, the people within the chapters, and you've got the organization. You said before that it was 75% youth run. How important has it been for the organization to keep empowering young people? Because I guess obviously, we are the future.
Yeah, it's been so important, because I think throughout education, we often look to adults, and there's a disconnect between actual things that happen when you're hearing it from an adult, whereas you're hearing it from a peer and someone in your community who's actually teaching you how to do something in a way that you'll understand. And so maintaining that youth-run, youth-filled energy and presence within our organization has been so important.
Do you think that there's almost that, I guess arrogance from people outside of youth that maybe don't trust it because it's run by younger people? Or do you think that because it's run by younger people, it actually speaks louder to, I guess, the world?
Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't say there's necessarily an arrogance, but I believe that through our work and through proving that we are able to create these meaningful experiences for students in their communities, we've really been able to reach people and show that we're actually doing stuff and we're actually making an impact.
Definitely. And you mentioned before the empowerment, and I guess of like how the feeling good factor of when you make your own garden. What are some of the ways that having your own chapter and being part of it can make you feel empowered?
Yeah, I think there's so many different ways. I mean, through lockdown, there's been a lot of isolation, but with people being able to create these gardens, because the garden doesn't just go away, you have to take care of it, you have to foster it, like social relationships, and building a garden with other people connects you to these people because it's a project that you've started together. And you've joined this group and you've spent time with them, and it's really built those relationships. And then, of course, there's the physical benefit of being outdoors for long periods of time and getting all the weeds out. That's super important. and planting things and actually making these decisions that are tangible and not just
Definitely.
online.
And the mental health benefits. So many people we actually see within stuff like prisons that gardening is becoming such a good tool for people to mentally unwind. Just how I guess underrated is the mental aspect when you are doing things like this.
It's incredibly underrated. And I think that, yes, having a group of students and having a group of peers that you connect with on a regular basis and seeing like in casual settings is important. But then having a project that you're able to work on with these people and regularly having to contribute to that project is super important and has been a super good way to keep people connected and improve mental health.
Amazing. And let's talk about you as well. How was, I guess, as the Urban Garden Initiative empowered you specifically?
Yeah. I mean, it's allowed me to visualize that there's this greater world out there. I mean, we've been stuck in our homes for the past almost year and a half, 2 years now, which is crazy. And so knowing that there's people outside of my bedroom that are creating an actual impact in their communities is incredible and super important.
Amazing. Now, obviously, you're doing wonderful things, but is there some stuff that we can expect in the future from the Urban Garden Initiative, or is it just keeping the train going, keeping things rolling?
Yeah, I think keeping things rolling is super important. But in the future, we really hope to broaden our chapter's reach and really get to create these projects both online and in person that connect even more people to our message and help educate even more people. And especially people of all ages, from children who we started working with and teenagers who we regularly work with in high schools, but also adults, like aging adults in retirement homes or in community centers is super
Oh,
important to us.
100%. The impact that, I guess, gardening, like I know for a fact that my grandma absolutely adores her garden. And I know friends, grandparents, and I guess for the older community, imagine being stuck in lockdown, and especially, I guess, being extra vulnerable. Imagine how much their garden or something in that nature has benefited them. I think it's absolutely incredible, and I think it's definitely, like we said before, it's a great way, and it has a huge impact on all generations. Now, just quickly before we do go, for those that maybe do want to start a garden in partnership with the Urban Garden Initiative, what just can you go over the way that
Yeah.
process goes?
So a lot of information is on our website, which is www.theurbangardeninitiative.org,
We'll
which
be
will be
putting that.
linked down
Yeah,
below. Yeah,
yeah.
thank you. And there's so many different ways to get involved. Even if you're not interested in starting a chapter or you live in a more rural area, we currently have our youth executive committee applications open, which I am a part of, and it's been a super great experience. I've been connected with people all across the globe and had these amazing opportunities like this podcast, which is
Yeah, stop
incredible.
it.
And so, yeah, of course, go on our website for more information that will have how you can start a chapter, how you can get involved, how you can volunteer. If you're interested in writing on our blog or sharing what you're passionate about with a larger group of a network of people, volunteering with us is a great way to get started if you're not necessarily stoked on starting a chapter or gardening. There's so many ways.
Amazing. For those that are wondering, obviously, right there, we will be putting the Urban Garden Initiative's website and YouTube channel within, putting those links out there. Zofi, thank you so much for coming on. You are absolutely wonderful. We wish you specifically and the organisation all the best, and we'll be keeping up to date with the wonderful things and hoping to spread that amazing message and that amazing thing that you guys are doing. Thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you so much. This has been a great experience. Thank you.
No worries. We'll hopefully speak to you again soon. And yeah, thank you. Guys, thank you so much for listening. We hope you really enjoyed the podcast. Please take a look at the Urban Garden Initiative. Wonderful things happening, and we will speak to you very soon. Thank you, and bye-bye.